You are now tuned in to Hits 92.3, where we take great pride in personal expression of one's feelings, thoughts, or ideals. What you're getting ready to hear on this show are the opinions of the hosts and their guests, and they do not reflect the opinions of Hits 92.3 radio station, the brand, management, staff, their respective advertisers, parent companies, or affiliates. Now stay tuned as this show begins in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And yeah, I'm late, but that's okay because I went to go have a breakfast. So shout out to the Breakfast Boys on Main Street. When I say the food is amazing, shout out to Lorenzo. Shout out to my girl Portia. What did I have? I had catfish, shrimp, and grits. And in the grits, it had tomatoes, spinach, corn. When I say that thing was amazing, so good. So we got a great show lined up for you today with my boy Dale coming in the building. It's all good. Hey, how are you, sir? So tell the people who you are. I just said Delph, but I want you to tell the people. You gotta come closer to me. I don't bite.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
Not hard. I don't break skin.
Don't start that. Who am I?
Who are you?
I'm King Delph.
Okay.
I'm an artist, a restaurant consultant, and a chef, a dad, husband.
Mm-hmm. And an amazing bartender. I'm talking about. So look, I'm not really a drinker that much, but whenever I want a drink, he always seems to make it perfect to where it's not too much liquor, not too much juice. It's literally like a perfect blend. You just knew how to bartend, or you've been a bartender before?
So what happened? I had a restaurant in North Carolina, and when my bartenders were late, I had to figure it out because I couldn't miss money.
Yeah.
And so, I would make White Russians, drinks that people don't normally order. So I kind of started with the harder drinks first.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, like I don't consider myself a bartender though, but I do know how to make one of the best margaritas ever.
Period.
And then, I have my Delfarita drink as well on the Exotic Girl Brunch menu.
Exotic Girl Brunch. So I just recently found out that you are a consultant to restaurants.
I am.
When I always see you, okay, I'll tell you how we met. So I host karaoke and R&B bingo at a location called Something Special in Conyers every Wednesday night. And when I say fell in love with him the day I met him, I wasn't sure exactly what you did. I'm like, he's got to be the GM here. That's what I was thinking. And then the more we talked, he's like, I used to have a recording. No, you didn't say recording. So you had a radio station, or was it a recording studio?
I had recording studios, podcasts, radio stations, all of that stuff.
Yeah. And so I was like, dang, we got a lot in common. And then when you started talking about the consulting that you did with restaurants, that's what sparked my interest, because at some point in my life, even though KELZ does not cook, I want a restaurant.
Well, you didn't even open the gift to see.
I
brought you a gift, and I wanted to bring you something that that you can use.
Let's see. So, I love gifts. What we got here?
So this is a seasoning I use if you just want to season your vegetables and don't want to use anything else. This is one of the top seasonings I go to.
Okay.
It's good for you want to saute your veggies, and it goes good on everything, but vegetables is really what it is. And that's just some real good smoked paprika.
I like this packaging too. Smoked paprika.
Yeah.
I literally just told my friend while we're at breakfast this morning, that I want to start cooking. So it's funny that you gave me this.
I was reading your mind while you was
not
that's what I'm
talking. See, while I'm not answering phone. Okay, y'all, that's another thing. I'm telling you, today is a day. I left both of my phones at home, so I'm like, I hope he didn't call. I hope Sunshine didn't call. I hope everybody isn't trying to reach me. And then I would feel bad if I get home and I get my phones and nobody reached out.
No, I think you're gonna have a 1,000.
I'm gonna have 1,000 messages.
1,000 missed calls.
So I have an air fryer at home.
Hmm.
I bought the air fryer because I'm like, everybody says it's so much easier to use the air fryer versus cooking on the stove or in the oven. So I'm like, let me get the air fryer so I can still get the effect of cooking and I don't have to stand over the stove.
Right.
And I bought this air fryer like 2 years ago, and I literally probably used it maybe 4 times. My kids use it like crazy. So this morning I was like, you know what? I have this air fryer. Let me start using it. And you just gave me some seasonings for it.
Definitely.
Yes. So of all the things that you do, restaurant consulting, catering chef, music, what is your absolute favorite? If God said focus on one area and that's it, you can't do nothing else for the rest of the year, what would it be?
Um,
Hard question.
Consulting.
Consulting.
So I'm gonna say consulting because I enjoy helping people,
Okay.
just naturally. And then with me consulting, I get these business owners who had these dreams all their life of trying to open a restaurant, but never really cooked
Mm,
or had any
really?
type of management experience in their life. All they know is they have a vision
And
and
some money.
some bread.
Some money.
So when
Right.
you get into all of the the technicalities of what it takes to open a restaurant, and then you get it open, then you realize you don't know how to manage the staff, you don't know how
Mm.
to treat the staff, you don't know the organization of the kitchen, you don't know the guidelines of what serve safe is, of how to store food properly and to pass your
Oh,
health
you do all of
inspection.
that.
Yeah, all of that.
Okay, because that's what I was going to ask. Like, what does that entail if I open a restaurant as someone who isn't a chef and I need help from beginning to end? So you literally provide the beginning to end. You do the training.
Yeah, so
So do you have like
I'll get
different
you up
packages?
and I'll get you up and running,
Okay.
and I'll I usually do like a six month to a year contract,
Okay.
and because it's going to take, sometimes it takes more than a year, but it's going to take a while to get it going, and so yeah, I'll come in there, train the staff, help you with hiring staff.
Mm-hmm.
The hospitality industry has a lot of high turnover rates,
It does.
and so you got to kind of filter through the BS.
And so I'm glad we're having this conversation, which is why I wanted to do this interview in the first place. So
Hmm.
because I'm in nightlife, I know what I have to handle and deal with on my end. I have to make sure that I have great customer service.
Right.
I have to make
You
sure
do.
that I'm, thank you.
You do.
I have to make sure I'm entertaining
Right.
and that I can bring people out. Now, sometimes in some of these establishments, I'm doing my part,
Hmm.
but I can't get people to come back because either the food took too long,
We've
the
talked about
food
that
was
before.
disgusting, customer service was horrible.
Yeah, me and you
So,
talked about that before,
yeah,
about how a couple of spots you were at weren't
yes.
living up to what they were supposed to do on their end,
Hmm.
and
And
you're
we'll
going.
be, when business goes down and service goes down and money goes down for them, they got to cut somewhere. And it's nothing personal to me. And I don't feel like it's ever anything personal. But the first thing that has to go is entertainment.
Right.
But I've done everything that I was supposed to do consistently, but I still have to go because the establishment isn't doing what they're supposed to do. Now, do you feel like it's because they don't have a consultant?
Either that or they're too hard headed to hire a consultant.
Hmm. Okay.
Because some of these people have money to hire a consultant,
And they just
but
don't.
some people's egos are just ferocious and they don't think they need help
Okay.
until they realize that they're closing the doors on their business in 6 7 months. I've seen restaurants close in like 4 months.
Really?
I have.
Goodness.
Yeah.
So what is the top three things that you would tell a restaurant owner walking in the door? Like you're having your first meeting with them. Well, I guess it would depend on what it is they need, but top three things that a restaurant should make sure they're doing, regardless if they hire a consultant or not. You should just know these things.
First thing you need to do is hire hire the best staff that you can possibly hire, and then next is trust your staff. If you hire a manager, trust your staff to manage.
Hmm.
If you hire a chef, trust your chef to cook
Okay.
and to run the kitchen. I've seen where owners try to do too much and don't know what they're doing. So you hired a chef that's probably been cooking for 15 to 20 years, but then you're in the kitchen trying to tell him how to cut potatoes.
When you
Like
could be doing other stuff
you
that
need to
owners
focus
do.
on the major things that will help your business thrive to the next level. A lot of owners need to be out and about networking with other business owners. They don't need to be micromanaging
That was gonna be
the
a question.
right. You don't need to micromanage. Sometimes you do, but if you have a manager, that's what your manager is there to manage your,
I
facility.
I agree 1000%. That was gonna be a question that I asked. Do you feel like the owner should always be in the establishment?
Never.
Ooh, y'all hear this?
I work for a couple of different spots right now.
Okay.
One of them, the owners is always there. One of them, the owners is never there.
Okay.
And it just depends on you know how much trust you put in the people that you put in the position that you hire.
Yeah, I agree with that. I had a hard time delegating when I first opened the radio station.
Really?
Yes, because I'm like,
Because you're too nice.
no, not even that. It was I know what I wanted, and I didn't feel like anybody had my vision or would carry my vision outside of the things that they wanted to do for their own personal gain.
Correct.
And so I'm like, if I don't do this, then it's not going to get done, or it's not going to get done in the way that I want it to get done. So I had a full-time job when I first opened the station because I didn't know, I never had a station before. So I didn't know if it was going to pop or fail.
Right.
And so I would work during the day and I would run the shows from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. And once all of those slots filled up, people were like, well, do you do morning shows? Do you do this? Do you do that? And I was like, well, no, we're not open in the morning, simply because I was at work.
Right.
So I sat at my desk one day.
So you was one of them.
Yes, I was one of them. So I had all this money sitting on the table because I'm at work. And I thought about it.
And you wind up missing money because you don't want anybody. So you have to hire.
What I did first, though, is I ended up quitting. And I started taking the morning. So I was like, instead of me sitting here at work, why don't I work
Invest
at the
in
radio
yourself,
station?
right.
Invest in myself.
Right.
That's where the problem came in. So now I'm working. I ended up doing the morning show because I'm like, if I'm going to be here, I might as well do a show for myself too.
Right.
I only had 1 hour at night. I used to do Wednesday nights from 7 to 9 p.m. Then I moved from 7 to 9 p.m. on Wednesday, Thursday. So once I decided I was going to work in the morning, I took the Monday through Friday 6 to 10 a.m. So now I'm at the radio station from 5 a.m. to sometimes 11 o'clock p.m.
Right.
And I'm tired and this, that, and the third. But again, in my mind, no one's going to be able to run this board the way I need to. If somebody doesn't show up and they call out or they get sick or they get a flat tire, my business goes down. Not thinking that there's going to be other people that are going to be just as responsible and care about your brand the way that you do.
Well, what happens the day when your tire gets flat?
Then
nobody's there.
Yes.
So
I had to learn that.
Delegating, it's just it's a trust that you have to take within, the people that you surrounding yourself around. If I hire a chef, even though I'm a chef, if I hire a chef, I have to assume that this man can cook.
Absolutely.
And I have to, train him the way I need to, but I also have to trust him.
And take your hands off of it.
Right.
Was that hard the first time?
It's always hard because it's going to fluctuate. Because sometimes you get people who can say they can do what they can do, and then sometimes you get people who can say they can do this and do nothing.
Or they just be used to your food, and they're like, "Who's in there now? Because I can taste the difference."
Well, the goal is to find somebody who can duplicate, even if it's at a radio station, a restaurant, a firm, or a law firm, or whatever. Find somebody who can be you when you're not there.
I think I've mastered that. This one right here. Shout out to Sunshine. I'm gonna shout her out every time we talk about business.
Okay, Sunshine.
Sunshine is literally me when I'm not here.
That name is kind of scary there. I've seen Harlem Nights.
She's a ray of sunshine.
I've seen Harlem Nights.
Exactly.
She made that man not go home and leave his family. I saw that.
I said, turn it into sunshine.
Right.
Yeah. So she literally. There's nothing that I don't trust that she can't handle when I'm not here.
You're supposed to have a good right-hand person.
Absolutely.
You're supposed to have a good partner in crime. And, I'll be using my son a lot lately.
I started with my son.
Yeah.
So, and I had to learn.
But sometimes your kids don't work.
I had to learn. Just because you have a dream and you want to leave your legacy, quote unquote, to your kids, that may not be your child's legacy. They
Right.
may have no interest whatsoever in whatever it is that you are busting your ass to do.
Right.
And I
Right.
learned that the hard way. And he was like, I don't want to talk to people. I don't want people talking to me. He used to do exactly what it is she's doing back there. I had to let him go.
Wow.
I had to let my, you know what? Go find something that you really want to do, because this one here is not working for you. And I need the business to reflect me when I'm not here.
Right.
And you're my child.
Right.
So yeah, using my child was not the best ideal, but it was a great start. He worked for me for 2 years, and the more I pushed him to do more because I wanted to leave it to him, I started realizing this is not what he wants to do, and he noticed it too. It's
But
not
you
what he
know,
wanted to do.
but you're creating those memories for him. You know, when as he get older, he's gonna say, "At one time, I worked for my mom."
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
I can't say that. My parents always had jobs. You know,
Okay.
I can't never say I worked for really anybody in my family.
Gotcha.
You know,
Yeah.
so those type of moments, like I take my daughter on the food truck because I'm you know I'm in the food truck business as well. You
Hmm.
know, so I take my daughter on the food truck, and she really is not the most outgoing person as far as speaking to people that she doesn't know,
Okay.
but you know she does what she has to do when
Yeah.
she's with me. So you know, but I don't try to overwhelm her with it. I say, hey, listen, I need some help. Can you help me?
Yeah.
And then she'll come and help me. So
So talk more about the food. So you do business consult, well, restaurant consultant, and then you have your own food truck.
I have my own food truck, and then I'm a food truck consultant as well.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. So this summer, I will not be on my own food truck. I
Okay.
will. I just took on a project.
Nice.
It's called Southern Sass. It's a lady out of Kennesaw. I'm rocking with her. She has a brand new food truck. We just took it out this Saturday for the first time ever.
Really?
Right.
Okay.
So she kind of found me right in the nick of time.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's a beautiful food truck.
That's
And
that one you showed me.
yeah,
That thing was huge, like a
yeah, it's
a
a
big
kitchen on
kitchen.
wheels.
It's a kitchen on wheels. That's a perfect way to
It,
describe it.
it is.
It's a kitchen on wheels.
It
It's
is.
huge.
It
I've
is.
never seen a food truck with a kitchen that big.
I was even scared to drive the truck. Like she wanted me to drive it. I'm like, oh my god, you know, because
Yeah, yeah, no problem.
before I had a trailer, I didn't actually have a truck,
Okay.
and you know, you have to hook the trailer up.
Hmm.
You got to do a couple of different things. This thing, you turn the key in, go, and the whole kitchen's going with you.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's my that's one of my projects for this summer is to take her food truck to the next level because I
Okay.
took mine to the next level already.
Love it. So before we jump into the food truck side, let's go back to the restaurant side.
Hmm.
How do you determine they're ready for you to pretty much clip your wings and go on? So do you give them like a deadline? This month you need to work on that. Next month you need to, like, within this 6 month to year contract, are you structuring it to where by the end of this contract you should be good to go? And how do you know what to implement and what not to?
You know when it's working when um, they're creating revenue, when they're generating revenue,
Hmm.
and they're making money, and they weren't making money.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, because that's the overall goal for a business is to be profitable.
Correct.
So what it is by the seventh month, if we're doing it, if the ship is run tightly,
Hmm.
then by the seventh month you should be seeing some type of, even if it's not a large profit, it should be some type of profit in there.
Okay. And do
And
you believe in it takes money to make money?
I
You have
say
to
it takes
spend it
dough to
out.
make bread.
Oh, let me write that down.
Don't bite that.
I'm biting it. I'm breaking the skin on that one.
Yeah. Oh.
It takes dough to make bread.
It takes dough to make bread.
I
Yeah.
love it.
And it does.
Yeah, and I don't understand why sometimes. So even with me, now I'm in a flattering position when it comes to hosting,
Hmm.
because everybody wants me at their establishment. And in this first meeting with every single person I sit with, they're like, I know I probably can't afford you. So I'm like,
That's
if
the
you
spill
know
when they
that,
got
why
money,
did
but they
you
don't want to spend it.
why did you call me? You wanted the best, but you don't want to spend the money. So in my mind, why don't you get the best from the beginning, pay me what I'm worth, and we grow from there, instead of you finding somebody else and then be like, well, I'll come back to you when I can afford it. That don't make sense to me.
Right. So like, I'm learning this even right now. As I negotiate, I always like to negotiate to say, okay, I'll give you a better deal
Hmm.
than who?
Then who?
Like who
Who
am I?
you
Who,
gonna get?
me? Am I giving you a better deal than I would normally give myself? I'm not doing that no more.
I'm not 2025. I decided I didn't want to do that anymore.
It's either we gonna agree on what it is, or we're not gonna work.
Exactly. And so, like the last two
Because you
places
can
that I went to, it went like
listen.
that.
The reason why you have to do that is because you can say, hey, for the first 5 months, I'm only going to charge you this. Then after that, we go to the next level. After 5 months, what if the business doesn't last?
And that
You
is
shorted
what
yourself.
has happened.
I know it has.
It
It
has
happens.
happened.
I had to
That
teach myself that. I said, you know
uh-huh.
what, I got to do better. And because I'm like, okay, if you give somebody a deal, then they should jump on it. But then if you're giving somebody a deal, you shorten yourself.
You shorten yourself. Yep, because every week I was getting paid at this one location. I'm like, why did I do every single week? I'm like, why did I give them this price when it is not feasible for me? Because I'm still going to give you the same service. And I tell people all the time, I'm aware that I charge more than most hosts, but I do a lot.
Right.
I do way more than I should
Yeah, you
for
shake
the
your
price
hands
that
and
I
kissing
do.
babies and all types
All
of
of
things.
that.
Yeah, I
All of
watch
that.
you. Yeah.
I keep in contact with people to where, like, even this is how I know two instances. This is how I know I'm good at what I do, and what I'm charging is worth what I'm charging. Because my birthday party just passed,
Hmm.
and half of the people from Conyers drove 45 minutes away to come to my birthday party. So when you think of parties, you're just like, okay, well, those are your friends and your family. I had customers from all my locations there. Now, last Wednesday at something special, one of my customers from a location that I'm not even at anymore,
Hmm.
she came and brought me flowers.
Hmm.
And I was just like, oh my gosh. She was like, I looked online to see where you would be tonight, and I couldn't make it to your birthday. I didn't even know she was trying to come to my birthday party.
Right.
She was like, I couldn't make it to your birthday party, so I came out here, and she brought me flowers. As a female, bringing me flowers because she loves me as a host.
When you leave a lasting impression on people, that's what it is.
Hmm.
Even maybe 15 years from now, if you see that lady, she's going to tell somebody how she knows you and how much you just impacted her life just as being a good person.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, that was so sweet. So it was like certain times where I'm like, I'm getting too old to do that. That's always in my mind. I'm 43 now. How much longer can I host? Then I have those two instances to go off of, and I'm like, okay, I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, you go get look at what's the guy who used to run the prices right? Bob Barker.
Uh huh.
He went to 80, 90 years old.
He really
So,
did.
you got to do what you got to do. And,
Yes.
you can tell, whatever your passion is, even if you're not making money, you're still going to do it.
You're still gonna do it, absolutely. And
Or
that was
even if
something.
you've made all the money you can, you're still going to do
Hmm.
it.
Yep.
So.
And so, do you feel like, and just take me, you knowing me personally, take that out of the mix. Do you suggest that when you're at these restaurants that they should have specialty nights of like karaoke or bingo or things like
Well,
that? Or
well, let's take something special, for instance. I'm the one that put the Wednesdays together.
gotcha.
I put that
Thank you.
together. Right. I said,
So then you think that's a great
remember we
idea?
had karaoke and crab legs at first.
Yes.
So that was the concept. I said, yo, we need to do something on Wednesday. But I had a restaurant in North Carolina that was pretty successful. I just didn't have technically the right partners with me.
Okay.
But that was my on job training right there. So I had a different theme night every week, and I was open
Gotcha.
7 days of the week. So I had Latino night, I
Mhm.
would do reggae night, I would do comedy night, I would do independent artist night. So I had to involve the people that were locally around that were already coming to the restaurant, but these were like artists that were coming just to come and eat. So I gave them an outlet.
Yeah, that's smart. And then when you have a specialty night every night, we know it's going to take a build. How long do you determine this is going to work versus it's not going to work?
I don't know because we thugged it out on Wednesdays,
We
didn't
did.
we?
We
Yeah,
did.
it
I used to
was
tell people that all the time. So when people try to book me for a Wednesday, I have a certain loyalty to something special
right.
because it's been times where we had four people sitting at the bar and nobody else in the building.
I mean, many months,
Yes.
but if you're a new restaurant and you have a vision and a goal, you just got to stick to that.
Yeah.
Now, they could have easily changed the night into, something different,
Hmm.
but I think it's your long lasting impression that kept them, you and P. Joe's
Hmm.
chemistry, and and that what you're doing. So even if there was nobody there, they still said, if imagine if there were people there,
Yeah.
and let's build these people.
Because I'm literally, if it's 5 people in the building, I'm still going to act like it's 35 people in the building. So I'm going to always give people the same experience no matter the number of people there.
Definitely.
But I always wondered, like, how long, because sometimes when you do have 2 or 3 weeks back to back that's like that, as a host and a DJ, no matter who it is, not even just me and PJ, we're always thinking like, oh, we're going to get cut soon. That's the first thought.
Right.
It's because it's a slow night. It might have been because it rained. And then the next week it might be a holiday. And we're thinking,
or rent. Don't forget rent will destroy your whole first week of the month.
Absolutely. But we're not
especially in Atlanta. I don't know why Georgia
sit down the first week.
They have to, because the rent is so high out here. You can't even go out that damn week. You know what I'm saying? So
like, I'm stressing I need a drink, but I can't afford the drink.
Right.
I wait till next week to get my stresses out.
Mm-hmm.
But we think like that, like, okay, is this establishment going to cut us because it's, like you said, it might have rained, it's a holiday, and then it's the first of the month. So it's 3 weeks in a row, and people aren't coming out. Most establishments look at the entertainment like, why aren't you bringing the people out? So that's why I say I have a certain loyalty to Something Special Bar Lounge. One, because they're a Black-owned restaurant. They're a married couple. And because for me, I feel like they understand business.
Okay.
And so I feel like some, and I'm not saying all, some establishments think of the bottom dollar today.
Right.
I've had one location where they would call me morning of and say, we can't use you today because we didn't make money all week. That has nothing to do with me. I wasn't there all week.
Right.
But they're thinking about the bottom dollar instead of thinking like, dang, if I got to pay out of pocket this week, I know eventually it's going to be a return.
I hate when an owner tells an employee they didn't make no money because the employee didn't come for that.
And I don't come for that. I don't need to know your sorrows.
You know, they didn't decide the application saying, oh, if you don't make no money, I don't get paid. Like,
right. That ain't how it works.
You know.
Yeah.
But I just started happy hour in Midtown at a spot called VODs. It used to be called Odyssey.
Okay.
So we're doing happy hour during the week on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday there. So that just started last week. So we're in the process.
Times?
4 to 10.
Oh, that's a true happy hour.
Right.
No, that's right. As soon as you get off work.
So I curated the menu.
Okay.
I'm bringing. I brought most of the staff over there, and I partnered with the owner. His a guy that I've been a consultant for him for a minute, and I used to be his chef. A gentleman named Tech. He's a young entrepreneur doing his thing, and we have a great relationship.
Okay.
And he wanted to do happy hour, so me and him collaborated on it. Got some promoters. We had our first happy hour last Thursday, and it went pretty well.
So, of most of the restaurants that you consult for, you do the menus for as well, or if they're needed?
I will choose those projects because I know certain items that I'm going to bring that are going to sell.
Gotcha. Okay.
I have some superstar items that I have, like a backpack full of, like this private book that I can take and I can put certain items on. But it's a lot of different items. So I'll take them and use certain things in one restaurant, take certain things, use them at a different restaurant. And, and these are the items that will sell automatically.
Okay, nice. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to know all about the food truck business.
Okay.
I think that's going to be booming this summer too, especially with these trail rides and all this stuff going on. I'm hearing more and more people are diving into the food truck industry.
Which is not an easy industry.
Oh, so we're going to get into that. So you are listening to The L.I.C.K Show with King Def in the building, and we'll be right back.
Body image and positivity are major impacts in today's society. At Nurse to Beauty, we believe in bringing the beauty from within to the forefront. For those of you who are planning to have cosmetic surgery, Nurse to Beauty is ready and available for all of your post-operative needs. My name is Dontricia Dunham, and I am the registered nurse and owner. I have over 10 years of experience with emergency medicine that has aided me in giving quality medical care for cosmetic surgery clients. We specialize in a number of safe and effective options and solutions to help you achieve your ideal body image. Have a one-on-one virtual consultation via phone or private suite location. Have your lymphatic therapies and all other postoperative needs performed by a licensed medical professional. Mobile postoperative services are also available upon request. Not interested in cosmetic surgery at this time? No worries. We also provide an array of body modification services to fulfill all of your beauty enhancement requests. We understand how costly aftercare can be after a cosmetic surgery. Ask about our affordable payment plans today with instant approval and no hard credit check. Log on to www.nurse2beauty.com for more information. Call or text 404-849-0260. For education, client transformations, and reviews, follow all of our social medias at Nurse2Beauty. See you next time.
Look, let me get it. It's about another one, I put it on your fitted. Willing hand, baby, but who the babysitter? Me and Blade, they can stomach it, they put it around the shit it. I'm a Booker T and 95, can you dig it? Okay, we coming for you niggas, say it, I meant it. Downtown Atlanta, I was right there by the city. When I found out I can really do it, so I did it. I'ma rock this shit like I want to. Ooh, I'ma fuck around and move. Go against the tribe, you can fuck around and lose. Shit hit so hard, they can fuck around and sue, and I'ma win. I'ma win that, this my house, you a house, get Sinbad. Picture me a goat, when you snap it, can you send that? We gon' drop this and they gon' feel it like an impact. I'm a different type of nigga on the microphone. And I'm from the 6, see we talking about his own. And I'ma let y'all have it, but right now it's all about me, like in my song. If you want smoke, boy, you better buy a bomb. Me and Teasy, we in the zone like we by the zone. If you got heart, you can ride along. Y'all can't see me to the end of the show. Bicon, wait a minute. Me and Blade finna make another run again. Me and Blade finna make another run again. Me and Blade finna make another run again. Me and Blade finna. Me and him finna make another run again. Me and him finna make another run again. Me and him finna make another run again. Me and Blade make it to the whole summer. I like it, I like it, I like it when you jam. I like it, I like it, I like it when you jam. I like it, I like it, I like it when you jam. You know who I am. You gon' get this dance. I like it, I like it, I like it when you jam. I like it, I like it, I like it when you jam. I like it, 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 yeah, I like it, yeah, I like it, yeah, I like it, yeah. What if I told you to shake this shit on, shake this shit on, shake this shit on? What if I told you to shake this shit on, shake this shit on? What if I told you to shake this shit on, shake this shit on, shake this shit on? What if I told you, what if I told you, what if I told you? I'ma stand on my bitch naive. I know kid, ain't no kid by me. I ain't playing, I'm for real. I was inside C, but I see I gotta fuck it up again. Lights, please. Oh, I got him, but I gotta hit him with a life feed. When I'm on that stage, don't nobody hype me. I'm the franchise boy, but don't got a white tee. And ain't over to the lady saying in the right key. What you say? I want it. Ooh, like I ain't got no money. Let her word in, let her word in, let her word in. I want it. Let her word in. Like I ain't got no money. Let her say it now. What you say? I want it. Like I ain't got no money. Let her word in, let her word one time. What you say? I want it. Let her word in. Like I ain't got no money. One time, what you say? I like it, I like it, I like it when you jam. I like it, I like it, I like it when you jam. I like it, I like it, I like it when you jam. You know who I am. You gon' get this dance. I like it, I like it, I like it when you jam. I like it, I like it, I like it when you jam. I like it, 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 yeah, I like it, yeah, I like it, yeah, I like it, yeah. What if I told you to shake this shit on, shake this shit on, shake this shit on? What if I told you to shake this shit on, shake this shit on? What if I told you to shake this shit on, shake this shit on, shake this shit on? What if I told you, what if I told you, what if I told you? Good God.
We were talking about the restaurant business as he does restaurant consulting, and now we're about to jump in the food truck business.
Yeah.
So while we were on break, I was asking him because I have a friend that is going into the food truck world, and she was just telling me how expensive it is to just build the truck out itself before the business even starts, before you have to start cooking. It's just like when you go to a restaurant, everything is almost in place. Sometimes you got to buy the $8,000 hood.
You seen an $8,000 hood? Because I never seen one.
Really? How
Yeah,
much are they?
They're like 15 to
Ooh,
20,000.
Well, maybe because I saw it on. When I told you when I was trying to find a restaurant, that was the one thing they didn't have. I saw one on Facebook.
Oh, they might have just been trying to get rid of that.
Yep, it was on Facebook Marketplace.
They're 15 to easy
Jeez,
$30,000.
so I should have got it and just put it in my
stashed
in my basement.
Right. Right.
I'm probably never gonna see that deal again.
I don't know, man, but yeah, that's
like where you saw that at?
For real.
So with the food trucks, even starting it, sometimes you get one that somebody's selling because they're closing theirs down, and then you get the ones that's an empty shell, and you have to build.
So that's not
out.
a food truck. That's a trailer.
That's a trailer.
And if you see these ads online, on Facebook Marketplace, or your phone listens to you talk.
Of course,
we're gonna get all these food truck stuff coming up on our phone, but you see these advertisements, they're gonna say food truck starting at $8,000. Well, that's just a trailer.
Oh,
that's not anything in it. That's not a sink. That's not a even a portable stove in there. Like, there's nothing in there. So if you get a trailer, you either have to build it out or have it already built out when you buy it. And you're talking about that $10,000 trailer can turn into a $60,000 trailer immediately.
Instantly, and you ain't even turned the oven on yet.
No.
So when you just said something about the sink, in my mind, I'm thinking of plumbing.
Well,
how is okay?
Right.
Food truck. You're not in a building.
Right.
Your truck is your building.
Correct.
How does the water source work?
You pump water into the truck, and the generator pumps the hot water heater to make the water hot, and there's a pump. There's a system just like in your house.
Yes.
But the generator runs it.
Okay. And I know you can move a food truck around. So this is portable, as you said. It sits on the truck. No matter the
water, yeah. So there's like,
so it's like not connected to anything in the ground, nothing at all.
No.
Okay, so I
they're
always
like big
wondered.
Water containers on the truck.
Okay.
And that stores your water. There's one for clean water and there's one for wastewater.
Nice, interesting. Price wise,
I mean, you can get probably the cheapest. You can probably get a trailer for right now. It's probably around $28,000.
Sheesh. And if you have to get that,
if you want, and that's a trailer. That's not a truck. So you still have to find a
water source.
No, you have to find a truck to drag the trailer around. So that's another $15,000 to $20,000.
Of course.
On top of that.
Of course.
So when we were first getting our trailer, they told us not to get a truck because if you buy a truck and the truck breaks down, then your business is done. You could always use anything to tote a trailer. But this new truck that I'm on, the lady, she has already purchased a truck, and it's a brand new truck.
It's a brand new truck.
It's less than 5,000 miles on the truck.
Oh yeah, so she all the way around.
Brand new.
She come in this thing like, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Ain't no way
she already has
that kind of money.
She already has a successful catering business, and the food truck was on top of that to make more revenue, but she couldn't do both, and so that's where I'm stepping in, and I'm running the food truck for her.
Okay. And we were also talking about, you said sometimes it's best to have a restaurant when you have a food truck as far as the prep goes for the food and stuff, correct?
Because you have to have a base of operations for the food truck. You have to have a place to store your food. You have to have a place to release your wastewater. And you just need a place to, basically clean out your truck as well, you know.
That makes sense.
Because it's not a kitchen where you can leave the food on there. So if you don't sell out that day, your leftover food that you need to wrap up, and it has to go back to some type of location.
Gotta go somewhere.
Right.
Preferably not your house.
So and don't get it twisted. And I'm not saying this is the right thing to do. Some people operate without a commissary or a restaurant, but it's illegal. But if you unspent,
unsanitary.
Well, it depends. according to the health department, yes, it is.
Okay.
But if you know how to do your thing, then it is what it is. But just imagine if you had a $20,000 budget, right?
Yeah.
You spent 15,000 on a portable barbecue grill, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have,
You ain't got much
nah,
left.
man. And,
You
then
gotta
they
add
telling
some
you got to have a
marketing.
building and all of this and this and this.
Yes.
Then you be like, man, I'm just gonna go out to the nightclubs at nighttime and go sell food illegally and to make more
Get
money.
it out.
And that's what some people do, and I can't knock them.
Yeah.
It's not right. I'm not sitting here to say to do that, but
But
you know,
you got
sometimes
5K left.
what
You gotta do what
you
gotta
gonna get
do.
evicted, or you gonna go risk getting a ticket, for
Right.
not having a proper license.
Exactly.
So,
And so, what are all the licenses? Now that you brought that up, what are the licenses you need for a food truck? Are they the same as a restaurant?
well, it's the base of operations, which would be your restaurant or / commissary / shared kitchen,
Okay.
or you have to have that. Then you have to have your local business license, of course, your LLC or whatever it is, sole proprietor or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to have all your state paperwork, and then you have to have your county paperwork. So if you're based, what county is this we're in?
Fulton.
So you got to go, down to Fulton County. They got to come. They're going to inspect your restaurant and your food truck at the same time.
Gotcha. Ooh, that's a lot.
It is. And there's a food permit that you have to have. There's 3 permits. You have to have a food permit for that restaurant. Then you have to have a food permit for that truck. And then you have to have a food permit for a base of operations, which is your restaurant. So they make you
Right
have
back.
right. So
Center's right back.
they know how to make it where, you got to pay out.
Right. So I always have this rule, and my rule is I don't care what type of business it is whatsoever. I feel like any type of business that you want to have, I think you should shadow somebody that is an expertise in it.
Right.
They're already doing it, not somebody that wants to do it. So you can find out if it's something that you really, really want to do, and can you handle it price wise, time management, and just your mental. Because I learned, again, I wanted a restaurant, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't cook. And it became more clear that I could have one when one of my homegirls has a few restaurants, and she said, "Y'all, I'm learning how to cook because sometimes the chef isn't. The chef is there, but who's the person that helps the chef? What is that?
Sous chef.
The
sous chef, then the line cook.
The sous chef wasn't in a couple of days, and she had to step in as the sous chef. So
Right.
she was like bragging online, like, "Y'all, I learned how to make this today, and I learned how to make that today." And I'm like, she got all these restaurants and she don't know how to cook. So I was like, I can do this.
Right.
So instead of
That
jumping
means she has
out there to
good
do it,
managerial skills and delegation skills.
Yeah.
So
I called her up and I was like, I want a restaurant. So I want to shadow you to see if it's something that I can do and something that I want to do. And I learned instantly, like, this is hard.
it is.
Do I have and right now, in my state of where I am today, I don't have the mental strength to own a restaurant.
Well, you either have to have the mental or the financial.
Yeah, it's
Well, you have
it's
to-
stressful.
You have to hire somebody like who really
that
knows
can handle the mental.
that really knows what they're doing.
Yes.
And then you have to leave it to them.
And leave it to them. Yeah. And I was just like watching her, the ups and downs of you can't control having a bad night or this location isn't going to be a popular location. She has 3 of the same. So shout out to T's Brunch Bar. She had 3 locations going on at one time.
Mm-hmm.
And one was way more successful than the other.
Right.
And she tried her best and she would show up to all 3 of them, give the same attention to all 3 of them. One location just didn't pop. And so I'm like, the stress of having to pay all these bills, having to pay the chef, having to pay servers to be there for an empty restaurant every day.
Right.
And you still have to keep it open because
You ain't talked about the rent and the
I
lights,
didn't.
the
Yeah.
water, the taxes.
And all of that is different between food. I know I'm jumping back to restaurant, but everything is different between food truck and restaurant. And you said even with a food truck, sometimes it can be more expensive than a restaurant.
Yeah.
And you don't even have like all the floor people on the floor, like servers and all. Well, you got people serving the food, of course.
Yeah, you have
but
a
it's a lot
cashier.
different. Yeah.
You have a cashier, you have a cook. It depends on how big the truck is. So I've seen some entrepreneurs run their truck by themselves.
Ooh. So they're cooking,
They're taking
You're
the
taking
orders.
the orders.
They're taking the orders.
They're
They're
taking the
cooking.
money.
Now, mind you, before they even got on that truck, they had to prep all that
They
food.
had to prep all of that and clean up afterwards,
Yes.
and still post throughout the day that you're here.
It's just 20 jobs.
Jeez.
It's 20 jobs.
And people don't realize the owner, regardless of the hours and time you put in, you still getting the same amount of pay. You don't get nothing extra like a person working and might doing
or
overtime.
if you have a staff and you don't really make enough money, then you pay your staff and you don't pay yourself.
It's been times where I made zero and I made sure staff got paid.
I did that
first.
for 3 years.
Really?
Paid my staff and then pay myself, and I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
I don't like
That's
that.
why my ass out here hosting.
You have to be a strong person to write that check, and you go home with nothing. You have to be strong.
Yep, and you still got bills to pay too.
Oh boy!
But I'm like, if you signed up for it, you got to take the $0 until something pops, right?
Right.
So I've been very blessed with hits. I'll say that. Been very blessed. But there have been times where you either got to pay this person or your lights, let's call and see if they give you another extension to keep the lights on until next week.
Right.
So yeah, those are the things that people don't think about on the opposite end of what you do. Thinking about a food truck and you're the only person in it. I couldn't imagine that.
It's very rough. Even with my takeout restaurant I had in Jonesboro, probably for around 7 months, I did everything by myself. So I would be at the front register taking orders. The phone would be ringing. The DoorDash would be going off. Like, it was just so overwhelming. And then I gave great customer service. So even after like made your meal to go, I would tell you go wait in your car. Then I'm taking your meal out to your car to you. So but that burnt me out.
Yeah, it can.
It did.
And that's what I was like, mental.
I don't never want to take out restaurant again. Like,
I know me, and I know what I can handle mentally. And restaurant right now, today, I don't have the mental strength to run a restaurant. And I'm aware of that.
Right.
Regardless of if I have the money to do it, if I have the time to do it, and the passion, anything I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure I do the best of my ability.
Unless you get a restaurant and then you say Delph.
Yeah, then I got to call in Delph to...
Then you say, Delph, let's do something together. Then, then you won't have to worry about that, you know. But
and that is what he's there for.
Right. So I've seen people, like, come to different spots I work at and watch me. And I'm like, why is this person watching me like that? Like, oh yeah, well, my girlfriend's going to open a restaurant. She needs somebody like you.
Yes.
I was like,
and people always say, and I just learned this recently, and this goes for any business. Whatever it is you want to do, find the person you find the most interesting, the person that you find is the most successful at the thing you want to do, and copy everything they do.
Right.
In my mind, I was like, I don't want to copy what somebody else is doing. And I've had 3 different people tell me this. So I got to a point where when people started copying things that I do, I try to take it as flattery.
You have to.
Yeah. So she would be so upset that somebody's copying something that we're doing. She is in the place that I used to be in. So now I have to tell her, like, girl, this is flattery. Like, let them copy.
That means your idea is good enough to be duplicated.
Exactly. So somebody's watching everything we do and they're copying everything we do. And it could be frustrating because you're like, you want to be the only one doing it to make you separate from the pack, and then they're just following your pack.
I admire you because I had a radio station before just like this, similar. I just couldn't figure out how to get the proper people in the proper place.
I love it, and I think we do a great job with that. Is because I would hate to go into a business and spending my money at a place and I don't know who that is.
Right.
So anybody that steps foot on this in this radio station, anybody that has a show at this radio station, I'm the first person that they've had a conversation about.
Right.
The ins and outs and what to expect and how you can get your show. I don't put that off on somebody else. You talk to me first. And they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't expect to be actually, and I hear that 99% of the time, I never expected to talk to the actual owner of the station. Like, you're the owner? Oh my gosh, you made time to talk to me? So
most of the time, the owner is inaccessible.
Exactly. And I try to make sure that no matter what, I'm accessible for anybody that I want to be a part of this brand. because I wanted to go further.
If you go buy a 2-liter Pepsi, you gonna meet the person.
You
You
never.
gonna meet the GM of Pepsi or the owner,
I
like
don't, yeah.
So
You may not even meet, like, if you go into Walmart, you might not even ever meet the GM unless you got a serious issue going on. They're not going to greet you at the door.
No, never.
You're not going to meet the owner.
No.
Yeah, so I try to make sure, and I always say I don't ever want to get too big to where I can't do it anymore. I know it's going to come. I know it's going to come.
I do.
But I want to always make sure, like, no matter what, that I am your first contact if you ever have a show at Hits. That's my goal. That I want that to always be my goal. But I know it's going to come a time.
Now, if you have radio
be.
stations in
I still want to be
Texas,
the point of contact.
You gonna go to Texas, or you gonna do the Zoom call?
I do Zooms now.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, with technology the way it is now, Zoom call is fine.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're doing the initial, correspondence of meeting the first client or whatever, that's cool.
Yeah.
But that's the way. But normally that's not feasible.
I know.
It's like.
I know, and that's when you get dad. Exactly. Yep. And then she's the second point of contact.
Who's dad?
She's dad. I'm mom of the station. That's dad of the station.
Dad, and I'll tell mom.
Uh-huh. So, and that used to upset people.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when you were talking about delegation?
Right.
It got to a point where everybody was coming to me about their show on top of personal business.
Right.
And so
you gotta be a therapist as well.
Exactly. So shout out to Judy. Judy was my right hand first, and then she moved out of state. And I was just like, ain't nobody else gonna be able to fill Judy's shoes. Sunshine has over exceeded everything that I would need, and she actually implemented things that we didn't even have here that we needed.
Right.
And so when she came into play, she was the point of contact. So then people were getting mad, like, oh, she's getting too big. She can't talk to me. I have to put that point of contact in between because I can't be everything to everybody.
And she can help decipher who's serious and who's not. Because I can imagine with this, you get a lot of calls about people wanting to do something but not really knowing what they want to do. And you don't need to talk to every person about that.
Exactly.
So.
Yep. And so whatever's going on with the shows, sometimes I won't know. She'll know, but I won't know.
Right.
So we have to do it that
Only
way.
the serious people need to get to you.
Yeah.
She can seal all the other deals.
Right.
Right.
Call mom.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Right.
But if you're trying to go like hang out with your friend or something like that, pick me up.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll fix that.
And I try to make sure I support anything they're doing that's on brand for them. I try to support.
Right.
But if you like, let's go have drinks, then I probably won't go do that.
Right.
Yeah. So I try to keep those separate. So with having the food truck, is that something that happens there too? Because it's totally different. Y'all don't have like the nightlife to where you have a karaoke night or R&B night, unless you have it set up outside your area.
No, what you do is you find sweet spots.
What's that? What's that mean?
Sweet spots are like high traffic volume places that a food truck could do well at.
Okay.
If you're going to sell food on the side of the road or at a Walmart parking lot or something, those are sweet spots. I don't like that anymore because I don't want to sit there and wait for people to drive by. I would rather do catering. We did a lot of catering. The first thing that we did on my food truck, the first time we ever took it out, we took it to the set of Bad Boys.
Okay, nice.
Bad Boys 4.
Mm-hmm.
Will Smith was looking for some food trucks because they have what they call what is it called? Crafty services, and it's basically a catering to feed everybody during the daytime that's on the movie set.
Okay.
Then after that, they got tired of that food. Will Smith and them, they got tired. Will Smith technically got tired of that food, so he was bringing in independent food trucks.
Smart.
And I had a guy who was working on the set with him, and we went out there. We had a conversation with him, and he brought us out. He was supposed to bring us out a couple of times, but the first time he brought us out, we did excellent. Then right after that, the writer's strike happened.
That writer's strike.
But I still got to meet Martin, Will Smith. I was on the whole set of the latest Bad Boys movie that was out, and they loved the food. And I still have Will Smith's assistant number, and my guy who plugged me in. I'm still connected with the movie set, so I'm gonna be taking this new food truck, some
Nice.
movie sets. But Atlanta is Marvel is Atlanta's home. And then with Tyler Perry and all of these different movie sets out here, there's a lot of work out here.
It is. And like I was saying during the break, food trucks are like, they've always been around, but I'm hearing more and more as we're getting into the spring
Hmm.
of more people that I personally know that are starting to open food trucks. And somebody suggested that to me too. They was like, before you jump out there and get a restaurant, you should get a food truck. To me, I feel like they're night and day. They're literally not the same. So I can have a food truck, and then if I jumped into the restaurant world, it'd be like learning something all over again. Do you agree with that, or do you feel like that's a good move to make?
Um, they, they're different, but they're the same. The food truck, the thing I like about a food truck is that you don't necessarily have to use the same menu everywhere you go.
Okay.
You can have your superstar items that attract people to your truck,
Hmm.
but you can change the menu depending on where you're going. So if I'm going to a pool party with nothing but around people that's from the demographic of 21 to 35,
Hmm.
then I'm bringing different things.
Gotcha. And you bringing lamb chops to the pool party. That makes no
Nah, I'm gonna
sense.
bring wings and
Yeah.
tacos and burgers, things that I can
Yes.
pump out quick. But if
Hmm.
now we've had it where, Georgia, there's some black people in Georgia that's doing their thing because we've had it where several people have called us and we've pulled the food truck to their house.
Oh wow.
Their family's in town, their family reunion, their daughter's graduating, their daughter's birthday. They got this
Nice.
land. They said, listen, we just want you to feed our family.
That's dope.
We pull up on their land with the truck, open the windows, we charge them a base fee, and we feed their family and then get up out of there. That's the stuff I like doing.
So how long? That's because now my mind is
Uh-uh.
going everywhere. So
Don't be trying to get a food truck
no, no, no.
tomorrow.
And let me tell you why I turned down that food truck ideal is because I'm claustrophobic. So I can't be in little spaces for a long
It
time, and I
ain't
can't
that little.
imagine.
The windows are open. It ain't that
Yeah, the windows is
little.
open. That's cool. I want a tiny house so bad, and I'm like, oh yeah, I would last 30 minutes in that thing.
Uh,
So I've got food from a food truck, and I'm just imagining being on there for hours. I'd be in there like
See
the
the
walls are closing in.
and this new client that I'm dealing with her food truck. I was telling her, I said, you don't normally stay on a food truck for 8 hours.
Okay, what are you usually doing?
You pull up to um, the times where, say, if we're going to a function.
Hmm.
The function is from 3 to 5, and that 3 to 5 is that's when you got to make your money. Now, being that it's a food truck, you have to be there an hour before the function starts.
Okay,
But you don't stay on the food truck all day,
gotcha. Just in the heavy times of like cooking and stuff like that.
right? Or if you're going to an event, then whatever time those most people are going to be at that particular event, then you make your money, then you keep it pushing. But sitting on the side of the road for 8 hours, you're probably not going to really make any money, and
Mhm.
you're overworking yourself.
Gotcha. So when you said something about pulling up to somebody's house, and I said my mind was going everywhere, I'm thinking about the prep time. How on earth? And I always wonder this when it comes to any type of function, whether it's a birthday party, a graduation, a wedding reception. How on earth do y'all know the pricing it will take if you say 20 people versus 100 people? And how do y'all just? It's like y'all have this perfect math in your head of what to prep, like how much food to not run out.
Well,
Because I'm like, it
if
would be the
someone
worst thing to go to a wedding.
if somebody gives you a count of say of 100,
Hmm.
then you prep for 100 people.
Is it from memory of times you've done it before that you know? That's what I'm asking. Like, yeah, like how do you know? Like, how do y'all just know? How do caterers know? How do y'all know how much food and
All right,
to make
so
sure you
this is
don't
how we
run
do.
out?
This is a quick breakdown of it. If you got 100 people, I'm serving salmon, I'm serving grilled chicken, and I'm serving pork chops. For instance,
Okay,
we're gonna do if 100 people,
100 people.
we're gonna do more than likely around 50 to 60 pork chops
Okay,
orders.
okay.
We'll do maybe 50 salmon orders
Hmm.
and maybe 30 um, chicken orders, or maybe switch the pork chop out with the chicken, whatever, something like that. Where you're coming to around 140 to 150 orders, and that's all we. That's really how we gauge it,
Gotcha. 'Cause I
because
always wanted
everybody's
that.
not going to get chicken,
Right.
everybody's not going to get salmon, and damn sure everybody's not going to get pork chops because
Somebody ain't eating meat.
somebody's not going to eat pork and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But
Yeah.
that's how we normally gauge it, and then pricing it. We just, if you want salmon, we'll just tell you, what it costs per person,
Hmm.
the average,
Okay.
and then so a salmon plate. What the average for a salmon plate is around $20.
And then that would be like salmon in like two sides.
Of course,
Okay.
yeah.
And all of this stuff can fit on a. Do you know? Okay, so if somebody wants you to go to a function, do you know in your mind like we're not taking it from this many people because we can only store this amount of food? Do
Yeah,
you
well,
take those types of orders?
yeah.
based on
Sometimes
individual?
there's certain times we had to have backup coolers of food.
Okay, and that's when your restaurant comes into play.
Right, right.
So are they like full size refrigerators?
Yes,
Okay,
yes they are.
okay, and that's what I wondered. Too.
Full size refrigerator, full size. It's a kitchen. It's full size refrigerator, full size freezer, 3 compartment sinks, hand washing sink, fryers, grills or a flat top grill, warmers to keep your food, everything that a kitchen has to cook. Even this one I'm on now even has an oven on it.
Dang.
Right.
Yeah. I wish we could post a picture. I should have sent her the picture so we can post it so they can see
Right.
what we're talking about. But even with that, so all of this prep work,
Hmm.
all of and I'm thinking that's why I'm asking, is this full size appliances? You said you don't like to be in one spot. So take your personal preference out of it.
Hmm.
Do you think it's you'll profit more of staying in one location every week so people know Saturday mornings I know to go over here because I know the food truck, or to move around
I've seen people be successful like that.
to stay in one spot?
That's just
Okay.
not for me.
Gotcha. You like to be in different areas.
Yeah.
Because I mean, two ways. One, you're consistent, so I guess after a month, if people are consistently coming, you know what you're going to make all the time.
Right, right.
But it also takes away from the benefit of having several quote unquote restaurants because you're in different areas and you're always consistently meeting new people. So your following and your customer base is growing. The downside is they won't be able to find you when they want you.
Right. And they have all this new technology where, say if you buy a plate from me, I'm giving you a receipt, you put your phone number in there, it'll store your phone number and
Okay.
send out a mass text. And so if I'm in your area that you live in, it'll send you a text that we're
Gotcha. That's
coming.
smart.
But I have
Ahead
seen,
of time?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, okay. This Saturday we're going to be in,
That's
Pine
kinda
Lake
dope,
or
though.
whatever. It is.
Yeah.
But I've seen people, barbecue trucks and things of that nature that, you go look for them and they're always there.
Hmm.
And that's another way to do it as well, because that creates your consistent customer. But for me, I just don't like to sit still.
Uh-huh. I would feel like that too. Like at first I'd be cool with being in the same place, but then after a while I'd be like, okay, let's see what it is on this side of town. Especially if there's some type of event going on. That's another question that's coming to mind. When y'all are setting up places, you're having to pay to be where you are, right?
It just depends.
Okay.
I think if your food truck is in demand, no. But if you go do Centennial Park, Wind Down Wednesday or something like that,
Right.
they're charging a
They're
vendor's
charging.
fee.
Okay.
Sometimes they're too high.
Mm.
Might be
'Cause they know you're
16.
gonna make
Yeah,
some
so I've seen some of them try to charge a vendor's fee where they want some of your profit.
They want your profit?
Some of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I went to an event, and I still remember this too. I went to an event in Texas,
Mhm.
living here, went to an event in Texas, and they sent the list of um, the fees for vendors.
Mhm.
And I think the food vendor fee was like $1,200. The
Yeah.
Sweet Arbor Festival
Rick
here
Ross
is kind
was
of like that
charging
too.
$10,000 to go to his car
Sheesh.
show for food trucks.
And
Like,
are you going to make more than that?
nah, it's just it's just clout saying that you was at Rick Ross'
No,
house.
I
Like
ain't. No,
I don't
I'm
want
not
to do
paying
that.
that.
Like,
Yeah,
and
because
I
I
like
can't even
Ricky
store
Rose.
$10,000 worth of food to even sell over $10,000 worth of
I
food
mean, you gotta sell
to make a profit.
plates at $80 a plate. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You
When
know.
at this event, like
You know,
these
but
10-piece wings is $125 today.
yeah. So luckily I've been blessed where, you know, we've been reached out by bigger celebrities
Mm-hmm.
versus having to go and pay a
That's
vendor's
crazy.
fee.
That's
Right.
crazy.
It is.
Even Sweet Arbor Festival here,
They charge
just for us,
out the ass too.
right? And we're not even
Excuse me.
dealing with food. We're just setting up for the radio station and try to
Promotion, right.
just for promotion, simply for that. And I think it's 600.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine what it is for food and drink.
Yeah.
It had to be about 12.
Yeah.
But I feel like they, depending on, I mean, every time I go, like you said, an average plate when I've been to Sweet Arbor Festival will be between $20-$25. So maybe they'll make their money back, but just off the top.
Yeah, if it's $600, that's not too far fetched.
Right, but we're just spending. But if we're not making nothing off of it.
But I've seen somewhere it's $1,300 for vendor's fee. Because I don't know what they think you're gonna make.
Exactly.
But
off a $20 plate and you spent $1,500 to
but
be there.
I think one of them was might have been One Music Fest.
Uh-huh.
I think for the weekend it was probably like $6,000. But I think them people were making.
They were making it back.
40, 50.
Yeah.
So you could take that risk if you want to.
Yeah. And I like the fact that you said in the beginning, like having the restaurant, because in my mind I'm like, I don't even see how you can store it to make that much. But if you run out, you got your restaurant.
Sometimes you have to have a backup vehicle with just food on it,
like a trailer
behind the truck. Yeah, because some of those events you can't leave. You can't go to the store and be like, I'll be right back. I'm going to get some more hamburger meat or something. You got to have that. And, either the truck is parked where the trucks are lined up and you can't move because they're so close, or you just can't drive through a crowd. So you have to make sure you accommodate for what's going on. So several times we've had to bring extra food with us in a different vehicle.
And it's a whole new world that I know nothing of. I'm sure the people that are tuned in is probably thinking the same thing. Like, dang, I didn't even know, like, it takes all this. All we know is they got good food.
All you know is you get some wings off the truck in a basket.
Exactly.
You don't know everything that comes with
it. Exactly. And then sometimes we complain about wait time, not knowing all the stuff that you said happens in the background. So speaking of wait time and like stuff in the background, when it comes to prep work, how long does it take to prep before you even turn a grill on?
We prepped last week. We prepped all week, maybe 5 hours a day.
And prep consists of what?
Seasoning food. When you're on a food truck, we like to, make sure everything is either par cooked or pre cooked.
Okay.
Because we want to be able to get you. If you're cooking wings take 13 to 14 minutes from raw.
Okay.
If you par cook them and you bag them up, then I can get you your wings out in 3 minutes.
Okay.
Then I'm making more money
because
the turnover is quick. I'm frying them. I'm saucing them. The fries don't take long. Yeah. I can get your plate out to you in 2 minutes. 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But if I'm cooking your wings from raw every order, imagine if I'm doing that and I got a line down there.
And everybody wants something different.
Oh my God.
This person want lemon pepper. This one want hot. This one want hot, mild, honey.
Yeah, what I used to do is I would come, get there early. Things that I know are gonna sell, I would cook them off at least maybe probably 80% and just finish them off as they come to order. Yeah. So if you want a salmon plate, the veggies and the sides are already done. If you want a salmon plate, the salmon is really 80% cooked. I'm throwing a dome on top of it, getting it up to this proper temp where it's cooked all the way through. And then you got your salmon plate in 4 minutes. It's a science to it.
It is.
Especially to make money, because I've seen where food trucks take a long time and then people start walking out the line.
Yep. And I've seen that too.
So.
And it's just thinking in my mind, their kitchen is small, so that's why it's taking longer. I've always thought like that. But no, it's the prep work.
It's the prep.
Or the lack of prep work that they did in the beginning.
Right. Exactly.
Smart.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is there anything else that you want to add to this conversation?
No, just thanks for having me.
Of course.
If anybody wants to contact me about any services, I have chefs on deck, I have bartenders on deck, I have servers on deck, and I move around to different places. So if you need any help, with your restaurant, then holla at me.
And where do they
King
find you
Delph,
at?
King underscore Delph, on Instagram. Um, and then, can I talk about my new podcast real
You sure
quick?
can.
So I have a new podcast. It's called Yo Son, You See This. And
I
it's
saw that.
you did,
I
yeah,
did.
yeah. So I just started it. So I went to college for radio and TV broadcasting at Winston-Salem State University. I've had TV shows before. TV shows were all of this science and technology
Hmm.
before it was plentiful like that. I was doing it with the old school camcorder.
Okay.
I had a show called The Laundromat Show when I was around 19. It was in New York, North Carolina, Philly. We were mailing the tapes to each state. That's how old it was. But I interviewed like all of the celebrities. This is when record labels were functional, and I used to have all of the record reps come and bring the artists to me. So now I have a new podcast. It's called Yo Son, You See This, and it's basically me talking about different videos that I see online, and just kind of reposting them, but with a spin on it.
Okay.
But I'm also doing interviews with old school hip hop legends as well,
Nice.
and also new school artists as well. So I just did Davy DMX. I went to North Carolina and filmed in his studio. I did Davy DMX. I'm doing Davy DMX. He did all of Run DMC's first stuff, like a legend in the game. But I'm doing Diamond D coming up. Diamond D is with Digging in the Crates. He did Fat Joe's first whole album. He did the score for the Fugees. All of these hip hop producers that I have relationships with and artists. Um, I do interviews with them on my podcast as well.
Okay.
But you're going to see a lot of if you're following me, you're going to see a lot of shorts about just interesting videos that deal with science, nature, ratchetness, cooking, music. I'm doing a lot of showcasing on artists who never really got the recognition that they were supposed to.
Okay.
And just kind of shining light on them, because still think a lot of people that were dope back in the day still have dope music, even though they're not making new music. And I just want to shine lights on people that affected my life musically. So
Originators.
it's
of
called Yo
hip-hop.
Son, You See This. It's on TikTok, it's on Facebook, and it's on YouTube. And just check it out.
Are there particular days or just?
Nah, it's just
movies?
online.
Okay.
Just Google it. You can go back and watch all of the old clips and all of the new clips. I've only been doing it for 2 months now, but this is my new little fun project that I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna get him in the stage. We've been talking about that too. But I know.
Yeah, I
how
want to
far
do
is
it.
from you
What?
here.
It took
So I
me
thought we talked
40
about-
minutes.
Yeah,
to
we
get
talked
here.
about distance.
Yeah, it took me
Yeah.
40 minutes.
I'm working on it, y'all. I'm gonna get him here. I'm gonna get him here, y'all.
I would love to have we talked about that before. I gotta figure out. Now I got all of these projects. Gotta figure out how
We
can
just
I
busy.
do it. Yeah,
We just busy. That's all.
right.
We're gonna figure it out.
But thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
You're a great person. I love the way you hustle, because I see you at different spots all during the week. And owning. I didn't know you owned this radio
A
station,
lot of people don't.
but that's excellent, and congratulations.
Thank
And
you.
any support you need from me, you got, baby.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
All right, so y'all are tuned in to the Lick Show, and don't forget we are at Harold's Bar and Grill tonight, and we got my girl Alex and Samaj as our host. We got and Stoner. Oh, see, I love Stoner is me in mail form with his opinions, so I don't even have to be on the show. So people always be like, "You're always posting." So I just produce the show. I come up with the questions. I find the guests to come on, and that's it. Sunshine has digital media masters, and she does all of the production. So if you see it online, it's Sunshine running it behind the scenes. Tonight's questions. Can we get that up real quick? So we do this every single Monday night from 7 to 9 p.m. We have a live talk show, and it is called Hits the Connect at Hits 92.3. And this show is basically all of the radio personalities here at Hits. And we rotate them out so that everybody gets to be seen in a different light from their show. So Stoner has a show called The Goat Shop when they talk about sports.
Mhm.
But when he comes onto the show on Monday nights, he's talking about relationships. So you get a different vibe from
Right.
different personality from him. So we always have two questions. The first question tonight is, are you teaching your child to be the adult you want your spouse to be? The second question is, are you the type of person your child looks up to? So we're talking about that tonight. So when I say relationships, it could be business relationships, romantic relationships, relationships you have at work. Because another time we had questions about work bay. Do you have a work bay?
Who, me?
Yeah, do you have a work bay?
No.
No work bay nowhere.
No.
Okay, so we talked about that. So we always have two topics of the night, and they have $15 hookahs, $7 lamb chops, $5 drink specials, and again we're there from 7 to 9 p.m. So come and kick it with us at Harold's Barn Grill, Camp Creek Marketplace.
We got to ask you our bonus question, though.
Go ahead.
We have
Oh,
a bonus
gosh.
question.
Who,
today.
ask me?
Look at me.
I'm scared of
Look
sunshine.
at his face.
Why are you scared of sunshine? I am harmless.
I'm scared.
Okay, you ready?
Yes,
Do you have any children?
I do.
What do you have?
I have 4 kids.
So you do have a boy in there
I
somewhere.
have 2 of them.
Okay. If a woman comes to you
Mhm.
and says she's trying to be traditional and she wants to ask you for your blessing to ask for your son's hand in marriage, what do you say?
Wow, where y'all get that question from? It just depends on their relationship and how much I know of how much he's into her. If that's his girl, or if that's just somebody he's dealing with, that's my answer is going to just vary just on how much I know that he's into the relationship or how much he's not into the relationship.
And what about you? Could a woman propose to you?
A woman has proposed to me before.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I laughed.
Did you laugh because she proposed, or you laugh because, girl, I ain't trying to marry you?
No, wait,
Boom.
did she have a ring and stuff?
Yeah, did she have a ring and get on one knee?
Did she propose, or was she just like, will you marry me?
She didn't have a ring, but she was dead serious.
Did she get on one knee, or y'all were having a conversation? She's like, "I want to marry you."
She did get on one knee and
Sis, get up.
like no, mama, stand up, like no, don't do that.
Was you trying to do something else while you doing that? Proposing is not what I had in
Yeah.
mind when you got down on your knees.
Yeah, she was a stripper,
Well, hell, I would have really thought.
but we were dealing,
You were serious.
to a point.
Okay.
Not to
marriage.
But we were dealing, and she's like, yeah, I said, wow, holy, that caught me off guard just as much as that question did. Yeah, so yeah,
That is hilarious.
it
so
is.
those are the type of conversations we have on Monday nights.
Woo.
So if you ever want to be a guest,
No,
he don't want to be a guest.
I'll come back for the music segment. I got some music I want to promote one day, but
You do. So I'm glad you said that, because starting the first week of April, I am going to be here on Thursdays now from
Okay.
12 to 2. And I have a segment called Ladies Love Mike. When you hear that, what you think I mean?
Hmm?
Exactly. Ladies Love Mike is the microphone.
Okay.
So the ladies will be listening and tuned in, but I am focusing more on singers because I love R&B music.
Me too.
And so I want to focus on the indie artists where they'll come in. And
Does
of course,
does
my
the
show...
artist have to be a lady?
No, it doesn't have to be.
I need to bring my man Marco
But we
Rich.
the ladies. We're gonna be listening.
I need to bring my man Marco Rich up
See,
here. But
Send me the information.
What?
So let me tell you the concept of this show. So this Thursdays will be about the artists will come in, and we're gonna do my show like we normally do because we center it around relationships. So we have relationship conversations.
Mhm.
Within the breaks, instead of playing music, we're gonna play their instrumental track, and they literally have to sing it live in the studio.
Yeah, I'm
So you
gonna
can't
send my
just
man
play-
over here. He's from Columbus, Georgia. His name is Marco Rich. He has a new song out that's killing the game,
Okay.
and he's a writer, producer, but now he's doing his own thing as well. But I got a lot of R&B artists I rock with.
Okay.
So
Yep.
I'm
and
gonna
that is
send
the
a couple
concept for
to you.
Thursday. Okay, definitely do that, and I'll get them in studio. So they have to be able to sing live on air. We don't want to hear them singing with the track. It has to be an instrumental, and they're
Understood.
singing it. So that's what I want to do to showcase. Like, there's some real singers out here,
Oh boy.
and they're not getting. I'm not going to say they don't get the recognition because I feel like they do.
You ever
But I
heard of
wanna
a group called
highlight it.
Lyrics?
No.
It's two brothers. They're a group together. L.Y.R.I.X. Lyrics. They're pretty dope as well. I've done a couple of songs with them as well. I'm gonna
Okay.
send them to you. But
Send them all.
I got some dope artists R&B wise that you might want to check out.
Awesome. And they got to have a personality because we're going to be talking about stuff outside of just their music. So if they're just timid and they don't want to talk.
Nah, Marco Rich is pretty outgoing, and Lyrics they're both fools.
Gotcha. That's what I love. All right. So make sure y'all come out tonight to Harold's Bar and Grill.
Yep.
We have Nana Lane up at, she's the only one tonight, right? Oh, yeah, I know. It's just her show. Okay. So Faith 3T is our gospel show here on Monday night. So she'll be here. And then right after that, you go from God to Ratchet. Because actually tonight's gonna be really good. It shouldn't be too controversial, but we just never know. So make sure again you come out to Harold's Bar and Grill tonight. And yeah, y'all enjoy your day. And we'll see y'all tonight. Peace.
Peace out.
Decatur, Lithonia, Conyers, Covington, McDonough, and all surrounding areas. Something Special Bar and Lounge presents Music Bingo and Karaoke. That's right, you heard me. Music Bingo and Karaoke every Wednesday at Something Special Bar and Lounge. On the 1 and 2s, we got DJ P. Not to mention, we got the host with the most. KELZ, we got drink specials, plus the full kitchen, seafood dip, salmon bites, sweet heat wings, jerk chicken egg roll. From 5 to 7 is our happy hour. Mix and match, 2 items, looking for good vibes, delicious drinks, delicious food. Something Special Bar and Lounge, 1377 Old McDonough Highway, Conyers, Georgia. The best spot on the east side. Express lunch on the go. Not to mention now open for lunch from 11 to 3 Monday through Friday. Look us up on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Something Special Bar and Lounge.